Science offers that we are stardust. Whatever your beliefs, know that you are a gift inherently worth of love. You are a gift, and we are glad that you are here. Love is the spirit of all souls. In this moment, on our shared journey, may you feel witnessed and honored wherever you are on your journey. Let us now greet our neighbors, especially new or returning people, with our names and pronouns.
When we are gathered for a time of worship and of song, let none forget the joys and griefs that mark each path of life, and thus we reach for those who love. We reach for those who love. For youth shall pass and time is wise, and countless seasons turn. So day by day our years increase, until at last by life released our spirits shine like stars. Our spirits shine like stars.
Thank you, Jenny and Lucy. Good morning, and welcome to all who are here with us in this moment, and those of you who will be catching us later on. I'm Nancy Olson. I'm the Director of Congregational Life, Faith Formation. My pronouns are she, her, and I am serving today with Lydia Leal. Her pronouns are she, ella. Gabe Perbieri, somewhere Gabe, his pronouns are she, he, him, and our speaker, who is Jake Heron, who will be speaking to us through video today, and we also have some of our families here to share in telling our story today. Thank you also for being here. And our senior minister, Reverend Katie Romano-Griffin, is on vacation for one more day. Don't anybody call her. No emails today, until tomorrow when she takes the helm again. So today our service is for all ages. We do this a few times a year. And if you need nursery care for ages up to age 3, the nursery, there's staff in the nursery for you. I do invite everyone to take a connection card. This is the place for you to give us any information that you want us to know. And I like to add, if you want a name tag, if you need a door code, If you need any of those things, please fill out one of these. And also, if there are things that you need to check in with us about, please fill out those. They're a great way for us to keep tabs on what's going on. Jim Scrementi wanted me to announce that the blood drive for next week has been canceled. They'll pick it up again, hopefully, in January. So if you signed up for that, there will not be a blood drive next week. The other thing, very important, is our in-person congregational meeting is next Sunday, December 1st, after the service. You can read more about that in the know or on the back of your order of celebration today. It's a really important congregational meeting. Some decisions will be made. Some people will be voted in for the committees on the board. So please attend and share with the rest of us in the governing of our congregation. Also, just invite everyone to please join us in Harris Hall after this service for coffee and connection. And, bless his heart, Jim Scrementi has taken on fry bread. And so he has made up a batch of fry bread to share with us with the recipe that was in back of the children's book that we used for this story today. So thank you, Jim. I just love Jim and his baking. So we are pleased to have our speaker today, Jake Huron, who, as I said, will be joining us via video. Jake is a Blackfeet Sami Indian, grew up in Austin, Texas, before moving away to attend college and enlist in the Army. The UUA approved his entry into the Army Reserve Chaplain Program, and so he is now a candidate, and he is studying at the Union Theological Seminary. His ministry has spanned Turtle Island to include a prison internship, hospital residency, and congregational work in addition to chaplaincy for defense and Native communities. He focuses on creativity as spiritual care to address inherent traumas with Indigenous communities. So thank you, Jake, for also sharing with us today. As we begin our time together, we acknowledge the land itself and those who have sustained it through the generations. We are on the unceded land of the Lenape, the Miamia, the Kaskiaski, the Shawnee, and the Kickapoo, people who were pushed from their land and whose children have been stolen for generations. As we strive to be a community of justice, may we continue to find ways to make reparations. Thank you.
Our opening words are from the children's book, Fry Bread, a Native American family story by Kevin Noble Maillard.
The story of Fry Bread is the story of American Indians embracing community and culture in the face of opposition.
It is commonly believed that the Navajo were the first to make fry bread over 150 years ago. The basic ingredients may appear simple: flour, salt, water, and yeast. Yet the history behind this community anchor is anything but.
Despite colonial efforts throughout American history to weaken tribal governments, fracture indigenous communities, and forcibly take ancestral lands, Indian culture has proven resilient in strange and unfamiliar places.
Exiled natives strive to retain those old traditions as they created new ones, especially for food. Survival meant adapting, and those ancestors who were isolated from familiar meats, fruits, and vegetables got by with what they had.
Without the familiar indigenous crop of corn, historic farming practices and dietary traditions drastically changed for Native Americans. Many tribes trace the origin of modern Indian cooking to this government-caused deprivation. From federal rations of powdered, canned, and other dry government-issued foods, fry bread was born. Let us come together in the spirit of adaptation, resilience, and community.
Annalise Kinslow and her mother, Kyla King, will be lighting our chalice this morning. The ritual of lighting our chalice reminds us to continually renew our promise to live into our covenant, to put love into action, and to live out the community of love and justice we aim to be. Please rise in body or spirit as we share the words printed in our order of service in Spanish and then in English. If you are with us online, please let us know in the chat where you are lighting your chalice from. El amor es el espíritu de la iglesia y el servicio es su ley. Vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos unos a otros. Este es nuestro pacto. Love is the spirit of the church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. Now please rise in body or spirit as we sing number 389, Gathered Here.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Gathered, mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near.
Hello, yes. Beautiful. We are something. Oh, okay. Hi. Hey. No. Yeah. Hello. Okay. Now that we are ready, warmed up and learned a little bit, let's play around a little bit. So we're gonna have number 1 and number 2. Okay? Number 1 this side, number 2 this side. When I do this, number 1 sings. When I do this, number 2 sings. That doesn't mean stop singing. If we stop singing, like, you keep going, okay? And we are gonna play around with both groups. So you're gonna have number 1 and number 2 represented up front here. So let's go from the beginning. Number 1 only. Ready, ready, go. Number 2 only.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near.
Number 1. And let's go a little faster because it's missing a little bit of energy. Okay, let's reset all of this. And let's do everybody together with a lot more energy, okay? Let's go from the beginning, Liz. Ready, go. Gather here.
In the mystery of the hour,
Yes, that's so much better.
gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near.
Great, number 1 only. Gather here. Number 2.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle
Keep
and the
going.
power. Spirit, draw near.
This morning, we have several families helping us to tell the story of fry bread. Elena and her father Carmelo, Ian and his father Eric, and Presley and her father James.
Fried. Fried bread is food.
Flour, salt, cornmeal, baking powder, perhaps milk, maybe sugar, all mixed together in a big bowl.
Fry bread is shape.
Hands mold the dough flat like a pancake, round like a ball, or puffy like Nana's softest pillow. Fry bread is sound.
The skillet clangs on the stove, the fire blazes from below. Drop the dough in the skillet, the bubbles sizzle and pop.
Fried bread is color.
Golden brown, tan, or yellow. Deep like coffee, sienna, or earth. Light like snow and cream. Warm like rays of sun.
Fry bread is flavor.
See beans or soup, smell tacos, cheese, and vegetables, delight in honey and jam, rise to discover what brings us together.
Fry bread is time.
On weekdays and holidays, supper or dinner, for powwow and festivals, moments together with family and friends.
Fried bread is art.
Sculptures, landscape, portrait, or daily craft share from teacher to student, a cycle of heritage and fortune.
Fry bread is history.
The long walk, the stolen land, strangers in our own world with unknown food. We made new recipes from what we had.
Fry bread is place.
Alaska, Kansas, all the way to Maine, down to Delaware, on to Georgia, over to Oklahoma, Colorado, and California. Cities and lands we call home. Fry bread is nation.
Abenaki, Apache, Arapaho, Miami, Potawatomi, Oglala, Sioux, Narragansett, Navajo, Nipmuc, Seminole, Shoshone, Sac, and Fox. Hundreds and hundreds of tribes.
Fry bread is everything.
Round, flat, large, small, north, south, east, west, brown, yellow, black, white, familiar and foreign, old and new, we come together.
Fry bread is us.
We still here, elder and young friend and neighbor. We strengthen each other to learn, to change and survive.
Fry bread is you.
Thank you. We know that in our congregation, there are those of you who are grieving, who are sad, who have sorrows that you are carrying with you. And we also know that many of us carry sorrows about the world, about things that are happening far away, close to home, but outside these walls, outside the walls of our homes. And so one of the candles I'm lighting today is for those sorrows that we are carrying. And we also know that within this room today, there are also those of us who have joys, who are anticipating new life, who are anticipating perhaps seeing friends and family over the holidays, and are feeling warm and joyful that that too is here. So I just take a moment here to invite you to notice where you hold love where does love reside within you? Love is the spirit of this church. Love has been the center of our values in Unitarian Universalism. And so today, to take a moment, and where does love reside in you? And just notice that for a moment. And so know that the joys, the sorrows, the sadnesses, the griefs, the happinesses, the anticipations are all held in this space. And I hope that for each of us, that we can move forward today out of that place where love resides. May that love shine with you as our lights here do. Thank you.
Please rise in body or spirit as we sing We Celebrate the Web of Life, number 175.
We celebrate the web of life with gratitude we sing, for we can see divinity in every living thing. A fragment of the perfect whole in cactus and in quail, as much in tiny barnacle as in the great blue whale. Of ancient dreams we are the sum, our bones link stone to star, and bind our future worlds to come with worlds that were and are. Respect of water, land, and air, which gave all creatures birth. Protect the lives of all that share the glory of the earth.
Notice where your breathing is. Notice how you're sitting in these pews, how these pews are holding you today. And as soon as Jake starts speaking, we can join in. But it's a beautiful time to just rest. Rest your mind, rest your breath here together.
I certainly couldn't put a nice firm number to it, but if I had to categorize and rank all the various conversations I've had where such a response came up, I would have to say that it probably involved maps, particularly after I was trained to make them in the military. The definition that the Army doctrine has is fairly specific of sorts. A graphic representation of a portion of the Earth's surface drawn to scale as seen from above. It's the same one that I learned during both times I went to basic training as an enlisted individual and after I commissioned into the chaplain corps. When I was eligible for promotion to sergeant and I had to go appear before a board of senior non-commissioned officers and advocate for myself that I should be promoted. It's one of the things that I had to recite verbatim, along with other information from Army regulations and field manuals and such. Other customers that came to the map shop I worked at, the request that they had for products and services was probably guided, at least in part, by this definition. Because it's part of the baseline that we expect of anybody who enters military service. How I was trained is different than my parents' generation, theirs before them. How I expect future generations of service members to be trained is going to be different because the world is different. But of all of them, we expect this baseline to be able to shoot, move, communicate, medicate.
And my job specifically is to help others move. So I got to learn how maps are yes and. As I move from the first phase of basic training to my individual job schooling, we went through what a standardized map entails. I got to learn how maps are. And then we got to move forward from there. Yes and. Because as much as the world around us can be described by nice specific definitions and equations, it can also be, we went through quite messy, what a standardized and also subject to its own whims and doing something completely unexpected. So it was up to us to create these products, services that allowed commanders to make the important decisions of when to mobilize their soldiers or where to send rations and medical supplies. How a senior executive leader for USAID, for example, would be able to plan for a humanitarian aid, disaster relief situation. And it's probably already crossed your mind about why is he going on about army mapping? What's this have to do with systemic justice, equity, reparations, fry bread? I was told that there would be fry bread. Well, it's more in this second definition of how adaptive our understanding of mapping could be. Because if you were to open a Merriam-Webster dictionary and look at what's just below that more specific definition, you're going to find one that talks about just connecting informations in a visual way. We see this with college mapping and career mapping. What do I need to do to get from matriculation to graduation? What do I need to do from my little entry-level position to retirement? Hopefully I last that long. So it's important to keep these things in mind, that maps can be so much more, because how Indigenous individuals such as myself, or those who have been ostracized and faced injustice because of our sexual identity, our gender performance, anybody who has been historically or strategically disadvantaged, we can't necessarily find home or a place of belonging or a space of ease even on a standard map. I would love for that to happen, to be able to pick up my phone and, hey Siri, where do I belong? Because the world has changed so much. If my grandmother were here, or even her grandmother, and we were trying to find where they grew up, where they spent their time as little children, we wouldn't be able to plot it on a map. And I'd like to step back a little further, and because I'm recalling my first instance of using a map that wasn't a map. It was the tail end of high school, and my initial plan of where I was going to go to school and how my life was going to be, that I had had since I was 7, I'm gonna say, so 11 years at that point. Yeah, it completely fell apart. So I was panic planning. I was going through all of those bulletins and handbooks that were in the counselor's office like they were Rick Steves' travel books. I was trying to figure out where I was gonna go, where I could survive the next, 3-4 years, however long it took. But this was during that transition period into Web 2.0, as we know it now, where we have the ability to interact more directly with the internet, able to upload and download content pretty much on a whim. So planning for college was difficult because some material was sent to the schools or to the applicant, others was emailed. It was quite a tedious process trying to figure this out, and I know that I was not alone, because I'm sure that there's many others that went through my similar situation of things not necessarily being where they should be because they're being transitioned over. And I know that the hardcover years before that had its own challenges, but I managed to settle on this small liberal arts college in Washington State, which is kind of serendipitous, I suppose. I have quite a few of those moments, but that's a conversation for another day. Because I moved from Central Texas, which love the area. People hit or miss, to Washington State, which, yes, the area can be quite lovely, but the people that I interacted with were engaging those aspects that I needed to nurture at that time. The president who welcomed us all into my class talked about home. And I know that other college presidents and company HR representatives talk about their organization as a home, the people that are there as family. But more so, this was actually something that he meant. He had, as a former English professor, he had done academic studies of how place and time and home are represented in Victorian literature and a few other genres of writing. And it was such a point with him that actually, when he announced his retirement, they created these shirts with his face on it and home beneath, a lot like the Obama Hope poster. And I'm kind of saddened that I was stationed overseas and completely missed this. But it was a place of belonging, at least for the moment, because I got there using a map that wasn't a map and was able to make my life so much more. As I said, that there were people that supported me there. And it's namely the other Indigenous students. Because we came together, we created an organization to support one another that had not existed before we showed up. Even though there had been other Native students at the school. And we crafted, we jingle danced, we sang, and we made fry bread. We came together to discuss what it meant to be from the res, to be an urban Indian. At that time, we had not really heard, but the situation on the reservations and in that was happening to indigenous individuals about family members disappearing, about people being injured because they are different. All of this happened over fry bread. And it's the one thing that I want to say about fry bread, like many other national dishes and other food items that are central to an identity, or at least a portion of an identity, is that they are more to a different degree. If we were to actually map this out on, write this out on a blackboard, say, as like an equation, we would have to put brackets, and then we'd put more on the outside of that, put maybe another set of brackets, put more there, because it's compounded that way. It's a map that takes us back to different places from where we have been, where we could have been, where we could be. It engages all of our senses the way other maps and non-maps can't do. And it fills us into our entire being. Down to my toes, I can feel the crispiness. I can even just talking about fry bread, I'm able to recall the taste in my mouth from one of the powwows that I went to with my mother as a young child, and I was first learning to dance. And we heard in the story about how it's a time capsule. It is a story about how we were taken from our homelands to the reservations, to wherever we ended up, to subsist off of these government subsidies of salts, flour, lard, all the things that we were not used to. And we used our creativity and ingenuity to make something that they weren't expecting, to make survival, to make thriving in the best way that we can. Because that's what resistance is. Thriving the best we can, even when they expect us not to. Fry bread, ledger art, jingle dancing. They didn't expect that. They didn't expect me. They don't expect the next 1, 2, 7 generations. But for reparations, for systemic justice, for these things to really take root in the world, for them to grow into something that nourishes us, our children, it's going to take envisioning a world that is built on maps that are on maps, food that is more than food. So, and these things I can't express to you on how they're supposed to look, because every situation is different, every community is different. My fry bread is going to taste different than somebody else's. And That's just how it has to be. Because what the world needs is not the standard. It needs something that's adaptive. So, and to you, I raise my hands in blessing to your work and to your compassion. May they carry forward for today, tomorrow, and the many to come. Nunjwe and Amen.
As of January this year, there are 574 federally recognized Native American tribes in the United States and close to 100 recognized by states. This week, we are sharing our offering plate with the Kickapoo tribe who were displaced from Indiana and relocated to Texas, Oklahoma, and Kansas. To contribute, you can give cash or check into the collection plate, or if online, you can go to allsoulsindy.org where you will find a link that says Give to All Souls here on the left side. It's beneath the description for today's service, and please indicate if your gift is a pledge payment or if it is for Share the Plate if you are paying online or using check. Thank you for your generosity in supporting the mission of All Souls and for your continued love and support for one another in this world. The morning offering may now be given and gratefully received.
Thank you, Liz. From the words of our book, Fry Bread. Fry bread is everything. Bread nourishes and comforts in so many cultures. Religions and communities all around the world share in bread. Its synonyms speak of sustenance and survival, dough, manna, money, life. They are loaves and leavens, bagels and braids, crepes and cakes. They are communions meant to be shared and loved with others. Because bread is not meant to be cooked for one.
We sing, walk in love, united in purpose. We join our hands and lift up one embracing each one.